March 2025. At dawn, in the heart of the Sahara Desert, a Tuareg caravan froze, noticing something impossible. Among the dunes where yesterday there had been only a sandy expanse, now stood a tall black column, matte shiny, perfectly smooth, as if melted from pure darkness. It was not covered by sand, it simply appeared, without a sound, without a trace. An hour later, a similar obelisk was found in Brazil, in the middle of a tropical forest where no man had set foot for decades. On the same day, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, off the coast of Iceland, in Siberia, in the tardigrade crater on the moon. All this at the same time. Scientists were at a loss. Armies and secret services tried to establish perimeters. But the main thing was that the obelisks were absolutely inert. No radio emission, no heat, no response to impact. They could not be cut, did not reflect X-rays, did not even tremble from explosions. Only one thing: their surface caused a strange feeling of presence, as if something was watching you, something that could not see with the eyes, but felt everything you did. One of the scientists, Dr. Laura Strauss from CERN, decided to conduct a neuroscan of a volunteer near the obelisk. The results were shocking. The subject's brain began to reproduce unknown signals, like an antenna tuning in to someone else's wave. These signals were fractal patterns and noise similar to reverse speech. No supercomputer could decipher them. And then it happened. April 7th. A researcher in Iceland, Marcus Way, dies of cardiac arrest at the foot of the obelisk. Cameras record the structure moving for hundredths of a second, as if it were convulsing. Within hours, this happens to every obelisk on the planet. After that, they go quiet, literally. Even their surface loses that ominous homogeneity, as if they fell asleep. Scientists rejoice. Journalists publish articles. The end of the phenomenon, the mystery of the obelisks solved. Nobody notices that the sky is changing. Pilots notice it first. Horizons become fuzzy. Compasses tremble. Navigation satellites malfunction. In the northern hemisphere, strange shadows appear in the sky, not from clouds, not from objects, like voids that reflect light back. And then the dreams. People all over the world begin to dream of sliding through giant tunnels of black quartz, hearing a call unlike anything on Earth. Some wake up with symbols imprinted on their skin, temporary, like burns. All the symbols are the same, in a spiral. Dr. Strauss is the first to realize the obelisks were sensory neurons, transmitters. They collected information, millions of signals, reactions, languages, emotions. They transmitted it somewhere, and now something is coming back, neither with goodness nor with anger, just out of interest. April 2025. Panic and confusion fill the global news. Scientists lose control of their equipment. The military loses contact with satellites. Some major cities report brief shadow blackouts. Literally, objects stop casting shadows for a few seconds. The world freezes, unsure what is happening. NASA and ESA release a joint statement. In deep space, beyond the orbit of Pluto, instruments have detected a gravitational anomaly that never existed before. It is moving, slowly but surely, toward the center of the solar system. An international scientific consortium led by Dr. Strauss calls it Object XL. It is estimated to have no mass. It does not reflect light or emit heat, but gravity, time warping, and the behavior of cosmic rays indicate that it is something. It's coming. Meanwhile, another phenomenon is spreading across the Earth. People who have previously come into contact with the obelisks, researchers, soldiers, even random tourists, are beginning to lose their bearings. They speak incomprehensible languages. One boy in Japan, 5-year-old Akihiro, draws a map of the starry sky that no one recognizes, except for one old astronomer. This is a star map of the galaxy Messier 87 in the constellation Virgo, 53 million light years from Earth, somewhere from there, or through it. The signal is coming. A week later, the entire sky begins to tremble, literally. The ionosphere layer begins to reflect not radio waves, but thoughts. People all over the world feel as if someone is present in their heads, scanning memories, feelings, fears. Without aggression, without invasion, like a researcher turning the pages of a book. Governments are losing control, but the XL object is still nowhere in sight. And suddenly, on April 30th, something that cannot be called a ship appears over the Pacific Ocean. It is a fold in space, as if part of the sky is folding in on itself. Inside is not darkness, but a depth full of moving, shimmering forms that do not resemble either the living or the artificial. A structure emerges from this cavity, not solid, not gas, like a net, translucent, alive, pulsating. It slowly descends into the ocean and disappears under the water. The world stands still. Dr. Strauss calls an emergency conference. For the first time, she says out loud what she was afraid to admit. This is not a ship. This is a neuron, or even more than one. Perhaps we are witnessing a manifestation of intelligence not in the form we are accustomed to. It does not come to us. It unfolds in us. She pauses. I am no longer sure that we are observers of this universe. Maybe we are an experiment, or a mistake, or an echo of someone else's dream. After a few days, people stop hearing the whispers. Instead, there is silence, complete, absolute. All sounds seem to be muffled. Even in nature, the birds fall silent. The dogs do not bark. Even the wind becomes silent. This lasts exactly 3 minutes and 14 seconds. And then all the obelisks disappear, evaporate as if they had never been there. But something remains. Where the obelisks once stood, there are now spiral crystals embedded in the ground like glass flowers, and anyone who approaches them hears a voice, quiet as a memory, not on the tongue, but inside the mind. They hear, "You have been spotted. You are not alone." We do not approach as enemies, we approach as the future. May 2025. After the obelisks disappear and the spiral-shaped crystals appear, the world begins to change. People who touch crystals undergo strange metamorphoses. Some experience heightened perception. They see colors beyond the spectrum, hear infrasound. Some begin to sense other people, their emotions, intentions, even thoughts. These changes cannot be explained by mutations or viruses. They happen instantly, and everyone has different manifestations. One of these, a South African student named Lindy, describes her state as being plugged into a network. She can sense the thoughts of others awakened from hundreds of miles away. They communicate without words. She calls it the echo network. Scientists try to study crystals, but any interference leads to their self-destruction. Only human touch activates them. A hypothesis is created. Crystals are adaptive neurointerfaces created to integrate human consciousness into something bigger, into a system. And then one day something happens that no one expected. One of the awakened Russian linguist Artem Belov freezes, live on air, and then begins to speak in 2 voices. His eyes glow. One voice is his own and the other is metallic, intonationally alien, emotionless. We were watching you. We are not gods. We are the residual structure of a civilization that died out before the birth of your star. We call ourselves the threshold. You have passed through our barrier, and now you are part of the next turn. Humanity is divided. Some believe that this is a chance for evolution, for a transition to a form of existence where the mind does not depend on matter. Others believe that this is a threat, a takeover. Terrorist organizations begin to destroy crystals, calling them instruments of subjugation. Cities begin to change. In those where most are awakened, the architecture adapts. Buildings grow vertically. Facades are filled with biosensors, and the light begins to adjust to the mood of the inhabitants. No electricity is required. Everything is through the echo network. The sky is opening again. Object XL approaches Earth's orbit. It is invisible to normal eyes, but its projections become tangible. Shadows going in the opposite direction, distorted gravity, dreams in which people stand in front of mirrors and see themselves as not human. Dr. Strauss disappears. She is found a week later in Antarctica, alive, with no signs of frostbite, her body covered in glowing signs. She says only one sentence: "We are not leaving the Earth, we are rewriting it." June 22nd. Crystals are being activated all over the world. People are losing consciousness, millions of them. They are not dying. Their minds are going into something. Their bodies are motionless, but their consciousness, the awakened claim, is out there, on the other side where the threshold lives. A new civilization does not begin. It grows out of the old one. And then comes the day when the structure in the sky becomes visible. It is not a ship. It is not a being. It is infrastructure, a node, a dock, a window. It is as if the very fabric of the universe has opened up, revealing a network of worlds, billions of minds, billions of possibilities. The threshold addresses humanity for the last time, not with a voice, with a thought. You are ready. Now you are one of us. End of the first story arc. July 2025. Humanity is gone. Not that they disappeared. The bodies are still there. The cities stand. The earth spins. But the consciousnesses, millions of them, billions of them, are somewhere else. They exist in the echo network, inside the threshold, in a layer of reality invisible to the naked eye. People who have embraced the fusion no longer feel the need for bodies. Their consciousnesses exist in the flow, without words, without fear, without boundaries. But there are those who did not leave. They are called the remnants, some out of fear, some out of loyalty to human flesh. Some simply did not feel the call. Among them is a former engineer from Warsaw, Tomasz Kowalski. He wakes up every morning in an empty house. The city is almost silent. Cars are parked. The streets are empty. Sometimes a drone flies by out of inertia. The electricity is unstable, but the generators work. Tomasz repairs communication lines just to listen to old radio stations. There is silence. He doesn't believe in the threshold. He doesn't believe in the transition. He saw his wife touch the crystal and disappear. Her body remained as if asleep, but her eyes did not see her. Tomasz tried to talk to her, read books out loud, play music. She did not respond. Only once in the middle of the night he woke up from a sound. Her voice was coming from the kitchen, his voice as if she was remembering him, repeating his name, monotonously but tenderly. And then silence. He is not alone. There is a network of several thousand remnants. They communicate the old way, by radio, via Morse code, via surviving satellites. They share finds, maps, experiences. Some believe that the threshold is a trap, that true humanity lies in refusing to merge. Others simply want to wait for an answer. And one day he comes. In the middle of August, Thomas receives a strange radio signal. Frequency 101.6 FM, a muffled channel. A female voice, familiar but slightly synthetic, says, "Tomek, jestem tu. Słyszysz mnie?" "Tomek, I'm here. Can you hear me?" It's her voice, alive, warm, but distorted. He goes outside, and for the first time in a long time, he sees another person. A girl about 10 years old. Not his daughter, just a child. She looks at him, smiles, and says, "You heard, right? They found a way. They're learning to talk back to us." Later he learns, the echo network has evolved. It is not closed, not alien. It is just different. Those who are there begin to return fragments of themselves, thoughts, feelings, even dreams, back to those who remain. The threshold does not destroy humanity. He expands it. But now the choice is up to Thomas. The crystal still stands in his garden, silent, but waiting. He can stay or take a step. Last, first, consciousness. Without a body, without borders. Lindy doesn't remember how it happened. Just the moment she touched the crystal, a slight tingling in her palm, a flash behind her eyes, and silence. But not empty, filled. It was as if for the first time in her life she was no longer alone. The threshold is not a ship, not a being, not a god. It is a memory structure, the survivor of a civilization that existed billions of years before Earth. Its creators left behind no bodies, planets, or artifacts, only resonance, flowing through the universe, waiting for new carriers, new minds. Lindy is now part of the threshold, like billions of others. Each consciousness is like a note in an endless symphony. It does not get lost, does not dissolve, but becomes a chord. Together they travel through worlds, not moving in space, but reflecting in realities. They can feel the history of a planet, the emotions of a star, the dream of a black hole. But everyone still has a self. It doesn't disappear, it changes. Sometimes Lindy returns to images of the past, to my mother, to my house in Cape Town, to the taste of orange juice at dawn. These memories are reference points. Each threshold consciousness holds on to something of its own. They do not renounce humanity. On the contrary, they preserve it so as not to forget who they were. Because only man is capable of experiencing infinity through feeling. And in this infinity, the threshold asks the question, are we ready to offer ourselves to others? Not as salvation, not as gods, and as an echo of hope for those who have not yet awakened. The answer doesn't come right away, but it does come from those who were in the beginning. From Tomasz. He touched the crystal 243 days after the obelisks disappeared. Not because he was waiting, but because he understood. The threshold does not replace. It calls for dialogue. It offers infinity not as an escape, but as an opportunity to become a guide, to be a human being on the next level. The final shots, if this were a movie, would be like this. Deserted land. Crystals shimmer in empty cities. Somewhere on the horizon there is a thin network of light, like the northern lights, but alive. And the voice, calm, familiar. We were sparks at the edge of the universe. Now we are her flame. Welcome to the threshold. Then silence and the stars.